The long sought-after pieces exposing the true players behind the funding of the attack on the United States on September 11, 2001 are finally, albeit slowly, being revealed. The Bush family caught in the crosshairs of public outcry, and now the evidence is stacking up. Paul Joseph Watson writes, Bush operative Ron Kaufman was seen pulling committee members from the meeting and begging members not to embarrass the president. The 28 pages were originally classified by the Bush administration in 2002 on national security grounds, but pressure had been building for the release ever since. And now the heavily redacted version of the 28 pages have been released. Adon Salazar writes, while in the United States, some of the September 11th hijackers were in contact with and received support or assistance from individuals who may be connected to the Saudi government. There is information, primarily from FBI sources, that at least 2 of those individuals were alleged by some to be Saudi intelligence officers. The intelligence community also has information, much of which has yet to be independently verified, indicating that individuals associated with the Saudi government in the United States may have other ties to Al-Qaeda and other terrorist groups. Joint inquiry officials also commented that the CIA and FBI's failure to address the Saudi issue was unacceptable. Previously, several law enforcement agents, including the FBI and police, came forward with statements that investigations were inhibited when it came to looking at Saudi Arabia's role. The FBI was thwarted from interviewing the Saudis we wanted to interview by the White House, said former FBI agent and investigator Mark Rossini, who added the White House let them off the hook. Questions still remain given White House advisor Richard Clarke's admitted involvement in removing Saudi officials from the country following the 9/11 attacks. The New York Times reported in 2003 that Clarke had said he agreed to the extraordinary plan because the Federal Bureau of Investigation assured him that the departing Saudis were not linked to terrorism. And now those 28 pages have possibly led down a crooked path right to Hillary Clinton herself. The Nixon-esque Saudi-backed Democratic candidate for President of the United States. Rough numbers show that Hillary's campaign has raked in funding anywhere from 20 to 40% from the Saudi government, spurred on by her close association with the mysterious Huma Abedin. Breitbart reported, the World Assembly of Muslim Youth is specifically named as having connections to terror funding and support for a number of worldwide terror groups. The Abedin family business is an academic group called the Institute for Muslim Minority Affairs that is based in the London offices of the World Assembly of Muslim Youth and its parent organization, the Muslim World League. Page 24 of the 28 pages discusses Osama bin Laden's half-brother and says in part, according to the FBI, Abdullah bin Laden has a number of connections to terrorist organizations. He is the president and director of the World Arab Muslim Youth Association and the Institute of Islamic and Arabic Science in America. Both organizations are local branches of non-governmental organizations, NGOs, based in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. In 1998, the CIA published a paper characterizing WAMI as an NGO that provides funding, logistical support, and training with possible connections to the Arab Afghans Network, Hamas, Algerian extremists, and Philippine militants. Although the 28 pages make no mention of Abedin at all, the information in the 28 pages lays out a timeline of events during the planning and execution of the 9/11 terror attack that shows that, at all times, Huma Abedin was working for both Hillary Clinton and the WAMI organization, the Institute for Muslim Minority Affairs. The whole plan is now blindingly obvious. Essentially, Saudi Arabia funded the Bush administration's double cross of the American people on 9/11, whereby, as a result, the Eurasian strategy, as foreseen by Zbigniew Brzezinski, would have the American people's war machine stirring up the Middle East until the time came when that chaos would be exported to Europe and the United States, as is abundantly evident today.
Namely, in earlier times, it was easier to control 1 million people, literally, than physically to kill 1 million people. Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people.
Basically, a 2-decade strategy to have the free people of the world destroy themselves, managed with stealth by globalist totalitarianism slowly rising out of a pit from hell. John Bound for Infowars.com.